Good afternoon, Southwest Arkansas. Um, Good evening and good evening, I should say, not good afternoon. It's 8:30 at night, but welcome back to Southwest Arkansas weather. Let's jump into this evening weather blog for all the information regarding this winter storm this weekend. Some things have changed since earlier today. We have released our accumulation map and stuff of that nature. This, like we said before, is going to be a very tough forecast to pinpoint who sees what. We're going to go over why that is and some more details with that. First off, what I'll say is feel free to leave your questions in the comments below. At the end, after we go over all the information, we will get into the questions regarding any questions that you have and all of that stuff. As always, we're going to go through this and talk about timing, talk about the current watches and stuff of that nature. Also, while people are here, heads up, there is a dense fog advisory for portions of our region tonight. That is ongoing across the area with some foggy conditions currently at this time. So, starting off, we do have a winter storm watch once again from Friday afternoon through Sunday morning. That is for pretty much almost actually all of Arkansas. This graphic is not updated since they've added Ashley and Chico counties in southeast Arkansas to this. This is mainly for, once again, those chances of ice, mainly for us down here in southwest Arkansas. Before we go any further, I want to talk about why we are seeing what type of precipitation we're seeing. We get questions all the time with this. It's going to be super cold at the surface. Why are we getting ice? Why aren't we getting snow? What's the reason for that? So, let's go over this. I want to talk about this and show you some data here behind this. If you want snow, remember the atmosphere temperatures are different from down here at the surface all the way up through the atmosphere. This is just a kind of a simple way to say here's what that green dash line is the temperature of the atmosphere. That blue line there, that's your freezing mark. Okay, so you see temperatures at the surface 25 degrees, but they warm up as we go up. But there's a deep cold layer. That whole column of air is below freezing. What that means is those snow flurries, because guess what? Most of the time, depending on if things are below freezing above us, um, your rainfall that you get throughout the week and stuff of that nature throughout the spring, all that starts off as snow up at the very top, depending on how deep that cold layer or how high up that cold layer is, or if temperatures are below freezing up there. That starts off usually as a snowflake, and if it's below freezing the rest of the way down, in the most simplest way I can say this, it continues to stay as a snowflake all the way down to the surface. So you want temperatures for snow to be below freezing all the way up the column of the atmosphere. Then we have something that's called sleet. This is you have that cold layer up top. Then you have what's called a shallow warm layer where you see that green dash line. Temperatures get above freezing just above the atmosphere, and that's a shallow warm layer. That snow melts into water droplets or rain, and there's a cold layer near the surface, and those refreeze as ice pellets. That's your sleet. That's going to be one of our more dominant precipitation types tomorrow, or not tomorrow, I should say Friday into this weekend. I got my days confused there for a second. And then when we have freezing rain, what happens is you have a deeper warm layer, which is also a very good possibility for this weekend. And you have a thin your cold layer super thin at the surface, looks like rain all the way down. Those droplets become what's called super cooled. They still look like rain, still feels like rain, but when it makes contact with the surface, if that surface is below freezing, it freezes. And that pretty much is the best way to put that in the most simplest terms. That's why we're seeing sleet and freezing rain. We'll go over some of the data with this on some temperatures 5,000 feet above us here in just a few minutes. Enough of a story tale there, or well, not story tale, but some school lessons there with that. Let's get into the data and information that we have. So timing, this for some reason has not updated. Our graphic did not update with that, so let me redo that. I do apologize about that. For some reason, it did not update. But that timing has changed some, and I will get that worked on, and we will have that posted a little later, or a little later tonight. But I do apologize about that. So let's skip to that. We'll get to that here in just a moment, and we'll put that back on there here in just a few minutes. But once again, this is kind of the general idea. I think can really get moved north some more on this, where mainly ice and some sleet mixes in across far southern portions of Arkansas, and you may have some freezing rain. Starts off as freezing rain, then some sleet, then maybe some snow on the back end in that pink colored area, purple colored area, mainly ice. I want to make that very clear. I really don't think we're going to have a big snowfall event out of this. This is not going to be that. This is going to be mainly a sleet and ice ordeal. Okay. This is our winter weather accumulations. It does look a little complicated, but the best way to put this is that light blue color, that cyan color. That's where we could have some freezing rain of up to 1/4 of an inch, and then maybe some snow and possibly some sleet mixing in up there to 3 to 6 inches. I really think that's going to be kind of the area to watch in that region. That's what we consider the battle zone. There's going to be there's just going to be some switches between what precipitation types we see up there. That's just the atmosphere is a fluid, so it's always changing with that temperature profile as you go up there through it, like we just went over a few minutes ago with that. Further south there, across pretty much most of southwest Arkansas, I really think as you go further south of Arkadelphia, you get even higher freezing rain totals of near 1/2 an inch to 1 inch, or well, really closer to 1 inch potentially, down there near Hope, Magnolia, possibly up to 1.5 inch, maybe a trace of snow, but newest data continues to move that snow line further north. And here's the biggest thing: if we get more sleet out of this, which pray for some sleet, because sleet, all that's going to do is make things icier. It's still going to have road condition issues. It's still going to make the ground icier and have road issues. But if you get freezing rain, that sticks more to the limbs. With some gusty winds, that's not a good situation as we go through that weekend. I want to make that very clear. We're going to have some gusty winds with this as well, of near 20 to 30 miles an hour over the weekend with that cold air in place. And whatever falls, it's going to be here for a few days, okay? We're going to see temperatures in the teens and 20s below freezing through probably at least Monday. We may start to get close to freezing or just above freezing by maybe Monday or Tuesday of next week. So just be prepared for that possibility. And we'll continue to keep you updated with the newest on that. Once again, I will say I think timing is going to be a little later than what that graphic that we had there. For some reason, our graphic did not update on that timing. And I do apologize about that. That should have updated. For some reason it didn't. But I do apologize about that. I think we're going to see that get moved back later into that afternoon and evening. We'll go over that here in some model data. I think across mainly, while we're here on this map, I think Texarkana, Hope, Nashville, D. Queen, Mena, Mount Ida, down to Arkadelphia, Camden, El Dorado, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. is when the precipitation could start on Friday. This is going to last through Sunday morning. Hot Springs, Sheridan, Dallas County areas, portions of that area, probably closer to 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. on that. I do apologize about that once again with the map not wanting to show up correctly. But once again, let's go over some data with this. This, once again, is the European model. This has been the model that we've looked at here for the last little bit here. And this is the newest current run of this, the 18Z. And this will, as we go forward, remember, model data isn't perfect, but it continues to paint the picture of what we're going to see. As we go into Friday, here's 3 p.m., little clearer, but as we go into 6, we start to see some rain, maybe some wintry mix, some freezing rain ongoing as well with that, depending on temperatures, but temperatures cool that evening, and by Friday night, you're dealing with a wintry, or across southern Arkansas, some freezing rain. Northern Arkansas going to have the better snow chances with this, and that continues through 12 a.m. and then it really gets going on Saturday. You can see some heavier, darker colors, which indicates maybe some higher amounts or a higher just overall chances with that. You can see 6 p.m. that continues. Most of our area, it's in a wintry, it's in that freezing rain area. And that just continues into Sunday morning, and maybe some snow on the back end of that as it moves through. Then we should be done with this by 12 p.m. on Sunday. And when we take a look at temperatures at the surface, this is what's going to happen according to the European model. This shows temperatures once again cooling kind of throughout the day in the 40s, dropping that evening overnight. And look at this, Saturday morning in the 20s, and that's where we stay at for highs according to the European model. This is just one model, and that just shows you Saturday, we're going to be cold in the 20s. Then we're going to get even colder Sunday morning. Look at that. That's 9 a.m. Sunday morning. You're possibly talking teens and 20s, maybe some single digits Sunday morning with that. And then we start to maybe warm up. The European model is wanting us to warm up some on Sunday by 3 p.m. I want to watch that closely. I don't buy into that being as warm, but we'll have to keep a close eye on that. But either way, we go into Sunday night into Monday morning. That's cold. That's just straight air temperatures. This is just pure model data, so don't take that as that's exactly the temperatures you're going to see. But the general sign is it's going to be cold Monday. Best way to put it. And you can see there, highs, once again, maybe getting above freezing, but we're going to go right back down into cold conditions there with that. And real quickly, before we back out of this and go to the National Weather Service blend of models, why are we seeing that freezing rain? Let's take a look at what's called the 850 millibar level hot. That is your temperature up there. That is about 5,000 feet above us. This dark blue up here at the top, that's your freezing mark, below freezing. Down here, you're looking at 5-6 degrees above Celsius currently. As we go into Friday, that precipitation starts, and this is going to be Friday night, and you can kind of see here. You're gonna have most of southern Arkansas is above, has a really deep layer of or really deep warm layer above freezing, and that just continues to kind of maneuver and shift, and you can see there adjusting throughout the day on Saturday. That's why you may have some snow, you may have some mixed in, but the biggest thing is freezing rain, some sleet, and those sleet totals can affect how much freezing rain totals you get or snow totals. There's going to be a region, and it's going to be tough to determine who sees what. But as we go into Sunday, you can kind of see that colder air or that temperatures below freezing tries to move in as that moves out above us. Now, real quickly, let's go back to our local area, and I do want to talk about the accumulations. This is just the pure European model, so don't take these as exactly what's going to happen. But as we go forward, you can get the idea here. It paints the picture through Sunday. There's a sharp cutoff on who sees a lot of snow. Don't pay attention to those numbers exactly. Once again, that's pure model data. Just the overall look at the overall gradient change where we have a sharp cutoff and who sees a lot of snow, who maybe sees some. And then when we take a look at the ice totals, this paints the picture and continues to paint the picture of maybe an inch of ice in some places. It's wanting to paint most of southern Arkansas in that. We'll see. Like I said, sleet can play a big factor in that. And you can see there's a big sharp cutoff on this as well. Who sees what there with that? National Weather Service blend of models, actually newest data is beginning to come in, and it continues to paint the general picture of what we're just talking about with this as well. And this still goes to Sunday. Let's take a look at its snowfall. It's wanting to paint a little more further south. I don't buy into that quite yet, just due to what we have on going above us. Like we said, as we go into Sunday or Friday, you can see temperatures cool throughout the day. And then Saturday at 6 a.m., they're cold. It is cold. This is the blend of models, and that's just showing colder conditions will be likely through this weekend. So expect the possibility as well for some power outages, because when we look at wind gusts, if you get a bunch of ice on your tree limbs and power lines, and you get these wind gusts of 20, 30 miles an hour possibly, that's going to cause some issues with that due to just overall, once again, it doesn't take much there with that. This is the European model, and it's wanting to show 30 mile per hour wind gusts compared to the National Weather Service blend of models. So that's just a general concern as well, with those gusty winds being a good possibility there across the region. Okay, let's get to some questions here. I know there's not been a whole lot that's different compared to what we just had earlier. We did officially release our accumulation map. We're starting to kind of get a better idea on where that snowfall, where that heavy snow accumulation line and freezing rain line is going to be. Once again, we may have some across our northern portions of our region where we get some snow, some sleet mixed in as well with that. Because here's the thing, we got a lot of moisture available over us. If this was just a rainfall event, don't take this as this is exactly for the winter weather, because accumulation amounts are different in the way they work compared to rainfall. But this would be probably enough rainfall to get us to put a decent dent in the drought if it was pure rain. So we have a very, very moist atmosphere above us over this weekend, and that leads to some higher overall totals in winter weather accumulation. What time officially is it going to start on Friday? I think right now 4 p.m. time frame is when it's going to start to enter southwest Arkansas, and it's going to continue to move north throughout the afternoon and evening. Just depends on where you're at with that. Once again, another thing I will say, this is something I just want to say because I've seen a lot of people mention it. When you download your weather apps, stuff of that nature, I can't stress enough how important it is to get local weather apps. Arkansas Weather Network, that's a free app. Some great meteorologists here in Arkansas, James Bryant and Zachary Hall and Blaze Thomas are behind behind that app. That is a good app for here in Arkansas, and also your other apps as well. Your other local channels here, because your Weather Channel app, your Apple Weather apps. I'm This winter weather event showed us why they are not very great, due to them just what it does is it inputs automatic data, and it takes the human element out of it, and that's when you for some reason put in snowfall totals, and that's why you're seeing those random 2 feet of snowfall totals across other regions when all the data outside of that one model that they're running with shows something different. Just gonna pick a hair there with that, because just go local. Nationwide stuff, sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't. Your local guys do a great job. Arkansas is blessed with some great ones. Use your local guys when you get the chance to. Just tuning in, DeQueen area. DeQueen, I think you start to see some rainfall and you start to see some wintry weather or some rainfall, some ice, freezing rain starting late Friday afternoon. I would say probably around 4 or really closer to 6 p.m., probably 5, really after 4 p.m. Expect conditions to start to deteriorate. I fully expect some road issues, and I would not be surprised if we have power outages across the region. Like we said, freezing rain plus some sleet up to a half an inch to 1.5 inches is a possibility with that ice. Once again, who sees majority sleet? If we get our best case scenario with this is we get a majority of sleet, and that is a win in my book. No, it's not fun to play in. There's not anything you can really do with it. You can't make a sleet man like you can a snowman, but it is something that would be better for us than pure freezing rain there with that. I see that about people asking about El Dorado. Will it be like the 1994 ice storm? Each event is very different. I want to make that very clear. It really just depends on how things set up. This is going to be a higher end winter weather event, and if things reach where we are forecasting them to go, and where if it does what it's forecasted to do, it could be on one of those higher end side of things with that. Like I said though, every event's different every time. That's something that's great about weather. Every event is always different. None of them are exactly the same. We can get a general idea, but once again, if it reaches its full potential, I could see it being up there as one of our higher end ice storm events or stuff of that nature. Very dependent though on, will we see sleet? Will we see freezing rain? I think we will see freezing rain. It looks like we have a pretty big warm layer above us, and stuff of that nature. What time do you think Waldo and Columbia County will start getting bad? I would really say conditions probably are going to deteriorate for you and Waldron, or not Waldron, or Waldo, not Waldron, later Friday evening. I would probably say Friday after or late Friday evening into Saturday night and through Saturday. Most of our precipitation and heaviest will probably come Saturday. That remember, this is you're looking at almost 48 hours in a way of pure precipitation, and then on top of that, you're talking potentially a few days below freezing with that. So once again, just be prepared, not scared with this. Have your winter weather checklist ready to go, and know what to do in case of any information or anything that we need, or anything that you need for that with that, and make sure you're prepared. Never wrong to be prepared. Always better to be prepared, not scared in these situations. Just want to say a big thanks as always to all of our sponsors for making this possible: JNS Auto Supply, Bumper to Bumper, Landmark Insurance Agency, Palmer's Roofing, and Patterson's Credit Union. We're going to continue asking the questions here over on Facebook side of things, on YouTube side of things. We're going to end the video there. So as always, have a great rest of your evening. Thank you guys very much for trusting us right here with your source for all things Southwest Arkansas weather. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below.